This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
If you have an opportunity today at some point in time, not during our time, but at some point in time on your time, you might go back and listen to the 10 o'clock hour of Thetford and Ashby on Saturday, as they had an extended conversation with Coach Joey McGuire. And among the things that he talked about was, the changes that are coming with revenue sharing with the athletes and the roster limit at 105, but also, and all of those will be scholarship players, but also how it's going to work in terms of guaranteed contracts, with these athletes. And then if you transfer, that there would be a buyout, much like he has a buyout in his contract. So if, Joe Schmo wants to leave Texas Tech and he wants to go to Alabama or wherever, and then he's got 2 years left on his deal and there's a buyout in there, then Alabama's going to write Texas Tech a check. Conversely, it could be the other way as well. Mm-hmm. If somebody's leaving somewhere and coming here. So anyway, I don't know if it settles the Wild West or if it just makes it even more complicated, but that's coming this summer. By the 1st of July, you'll start seeing that stuff as the portal opens today, and Texas Tech's going to be aggressive, looking for offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and edge rushers. So that's on the wish list, for probably for this team and many, many other teams around the country.
No doubt, those are pretty important positions.
It's funny. One of the things that he talked about is he talked about one of the reasons that, and this is just, and he didn't cite specific games. He's just speaking, I think, from a 20, 30,000 foot view, that one of the reasons why there were so many close games, at least that Texas Tech was involved in, one-score games, dealt with what was happening up front or not happening up front. And that your culture, your ability to, hang in there is what allowed you to win some of those games. But the way that you're going to win these games and be more competitive and get to that 9, 10, and he didn't use those words, 9, 10, or 11, but talked about how important it was, and this is Captain Obvious stuff, because Nick Saban talked about it as well, that you're winning these games up front or losing these games up front, whether it's offense or defense, and you've just got to figure out a way to get better. But look, everybody else looks in that crystal ball and goes, hey, if we had a better offensive line or a better defensive line or dominant edge rusher, we'd be better too.
Right. I mean, since the beginning of football history, that's always you got to win the battle in the trenches.
And some have talked about just the style of the Big Ten play and how big those guys are and where they come from has been part of the problem for teams like UCLA and USC. Although it didn't really cause Oregon a problem, as they're the number one team in the country. But anyway, I thought it was really good stuff, and it was kind of in a long form, so you had maybe a little bit more time to have a conversation. But that was yesterday in hour 2, or excuse me, Saturday in hour 2 of Thetford and Ashby. If you have an opportunity to go back and listen to that, you can go to doublet973.com and download that through our on-demand video audio there on the doubleTSportsNetwork.com. Okay, so you look at this college football playoff, and man, if you're Oregon, you're going, wow, it doesn't really pay to be the number one team in the country, Jamie.
Well, it's interesting how all of that works out, depending on where you're, who you face off with in the next round. Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair to say.
And the question becomes, would you rather it be more like college basketball is, in that, the Power Four conferences and then the group of 5 that's the highest ranked, get an automatic bid, but just because they have an automatic bid doesn't mean that they're slotted 1, 2, 3, and 4. In other words, would you rather them be ranked where they're ranked? In other words,
yeah,
You don't.
Not the conference champions get the top 4 spots. Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Speaking of the college football playoff, I was, I guess, watching one of the games on Saturday, and there was a promotion on ESPN, a promo for the upcoming show on Sunday, and man, I got so tickled when there was like the commercial said something to the effect, they showed the bracket and they were like, a bracket like never seen before or something. And I'm like, yeah, college basketball hasn't had a bracket ever. You know, the NFL doesn't have a bracket. You know, Major League Baseball doesn't have a bracket. College baseball. Yes, college football. You guys are the ones that figured it out. Like, how stupid are these people? Like, I don't know, 50 years of college football have figured out this would be better.
It's like the crust has been removed from our eyes, Jamie.
like never seen before. Okay, right. Yeah, college basketball hasn't had a bracket. Yeah. It's like you may think that we're stupid and we believe everything you say, but really we don't. Okay, we still think you're idiots for taking this long to get here.
Yes. And do you think it should just be a 16-team tournament?
I do, and I think it'll get there decently soon.
And then would you have just 8 home games then to kind of begin round 1?
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
Because I think these teams that are playing at home, I think these teams that aren't playing at all are going to go, man, I sure wish we were playing at home this week.
Yeah, I'm sure they enjoy the bye, though, also.
Yeah, but if they lose, then they're going to go, well, we sat around too much. We got a little lethargic. We got out of our routine. You can hear all the excuses.
Yeah, they're used to having a bye week during the season.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today is December 9th, 2024. Here is Jeff McGuire.
Going to start in 1925, because history goes back a long way. The AL extends Ban Johnson's contract to be their president to 1935, so a 10-year deal, and raises his salary to $40,000. 1931, baseball cuts the squad from 25 to 23, and the National League continues to prohibit uniform numbers on their jerseys.
I wonder why. Wonder what the reason was there. Why would they not want numbers?
Because that would have made it easy. And the National League is not about easy. They're about tradition and standing up for something. And
making pitchers hit.
Maybe they didn't want their players to be showcased. Stand out.
Okay.
1949, NFL merges with the AAFC, gaining the Cleveland Browns, San Francisco 49ers, and Baltimore Colts joining the league intact. Other teams in New York and Los Angeles are merged with existing teams. Fast forward to 1985, San Francisco wide receiver Jerry Rice begins an NFL streak of 274 consecutive games with a reception, with a 27-20 loss to the Los Angeles Rams at Candlestick Park. 274 straight games of getting a catch.
That's crazy.
This just in, Jerry Rice knew how to catch a football.
No doubt.
2013, Major League Baseball pitcher Roy Halladay announces his retirement due to persistent back injuries.
Sad story there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 2020, Kyler Edwards scores 19 points and grabs 7 rebounds to help lead number 17 Texas Tech to a 51-44 non-conference win over Abilene Christian. And in 2023, the 89th Heisman was awarded. It went to Jalen Daniels, LSU quarterback. Jaden Daniels, not Jalen. Jaden. That's definitely a D. Read what the paper says, and you know Jaden Daniels. Happy National Pastry Day. So, go have something flaky and tasty.
Okay.
Happy birthday to Donny Osmond, 67. Kurt Angle, 56. Simon Hedberg is 44. Felicity Huffman, 62. And John Malkovich is 71. And on this day, 1979, one of the most coolest things to ever happen on this planet. A commission of scientists declare smallpox has been eradicated. The disease, which carries around 30% chance of death for those who've contracted it, is the only infectious disease affecting humans that has been officially eradicated. The last naturally occurring case was diagnosed in Somalia in 1977. 2 years later, doctors proclaimed its eradication. The elimination of smallpox is one of the major successes in the history of science and medicine. And it's proof that sometimes why we do it, because we can, is a good enough answer. And that, this day sports history.
All right, this day in sports history. Jerry Rice's streak, do you know who it ended against?
I do not.
September 19th, 2004. He was playing for the Oakland Raiders at the time. It happened in a game against the Buffalo Bills. Okay. The Bills-Rams game yesterday was quite a ball game. Didn't come out on...
Not if you like defense.
No, not if you like defense. No.
How about either one of you teams stop somebody just every once in a while?
But the quarterback play by both teams was just, oh my gosh, just outstanding. The receiving too. But you're right. I mean, the defensive effort was left a little to be desired.
Not gonna win many playoff games when you giving up 40.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably or just games in general. All right, time for my annual, gritching, I guess you could say. The halftime of the Dr. Pepper football throw. God, I just do not understand why they don't make them throw it like a football is to be thrown. Two of the guys tried yesterday or Saturday. The SEC championship and the ACC championship. The two losers threw the ball like you're supposed to throw the ball. The two winners threw it like a loser throws it, with a chest pass into the barrel.
But they won. But
I don't think that they should be allowed to do it like that. I think if I were in charge of Dr. Pepper and I were in charge of that competition, I would be like, okay, if you're going to throw this football, you throw it like a football is to be thrown. It's not going to be a chest pass. This is not basketball. Okay?
Okay.
Be like if you were, using a soccer ball, you would kick it or throw it, one-handed, not with a push pass. It's just weak stick stuff. They at least gave the two losers $20,000. The two winners got $100,000. But it just makes me.
Okay, all this going back between winners and losers. So who got the big money?
The guy the two guys that threw it like a push pass.
Okay, we were interchanging winners and losers for people in the same. I got confused.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, that's quite.
Yes, we were.
That's quite all right. It's quite all right. Today is the day that the portal opens. You can keep track of that on the TSportsNetwork.com. Just go to TSportsNetwork.com and you'll see an article there written and keeping track of by Rob Bro, every transfer portal move in and out of the Texas Tech football program.
It's like Christmas morning, unwrapping presents. Don't know what you get. What do you get?
So here's the list of names in there so far. Caden Carr is in there. Ty Buchanan is supposedly going in, right? They haven't. Today's the first day that you can do it. These guys have announced Jordan Brown, Brady Boyd, Jake Strong, Hayes Fawcett. Excuse me, it's not Hayes Fawcett. He was the one that broke the news on Micah Hudson, who may or may not enter the portal, depending on what you hear. Jalen Peoples, also in that portal movement, and Miles Thompson. If Micah Hudson decided that, upon further review, I think I'm going to stay, would you be like, yippee, or would you be like...
Well, since he's never actually been in, I would definitely be fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since he's not been in, none of these guys have been in.
I mean, I haven't heard him running down Texas Tech.
Nope, I haven't either.
I've not heard him saying anything negative about the Red Raiders or Coach McGuire or anything like that. So I would be fine with it. I don't have anything against the guy. I think he's going to be a good player at some point. So I'd love for him to be with us.
It still sounds like that there's a chance for that to happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't want us to, pay him $3 million to stay with us or whatever.
Money whip him, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we got whipped with the money to begin with to get him here on campus the first time.
Sure.
So if we're having to offer more to keep him after he makes 8 catches for 123 yards, then that seems a little bit crazy because I feel like he kind of owes us something at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like he was a little overpaid.
Okay.
Okay, if that's being fair.
It is being fair. And his problem was, coming in injured and then getting injured again, and then just not working out, and maybe him feeling like listening to others that maybe he should, start over. But hopefully he doesn't start over. It'd be nice if he'd stick around.
I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you had 2 baseball players last year that hit the portal, and they're back with the Red Raiders. I'm thrilled to have them back.
You had a football player do it too last year.
This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Chuck, 99% of the contestants they get for the competition are kids who have never played sports in their life. You can clearly tell. Well, then teach them. Teach them how to throw. And if they can't throw, too bad. It's just the way it is. It should be thrown properly, not like it was.
And Patrick Mahomes in his football game should have to throw all of his passes overhand, nothing to the side, nothing underhanded, no shovel passes, none of that. Patrick Mahomes should have to throw the ball the right way.
Nothing behind the back.
Every time. Nothing behind the back, forward every time.
Talking about
because Chuck Heinz said so.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank you for being with us today on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. Okay, so Texas Tech will play Arkansas in the Liberty Bowl. And here is Coach Joey McGuire talking about playing the old Southwest Conference rival.
A throwback of Southwest Conference opponents, a league that I grew up watching. And whenever they said that we get an opportunity to go to the Liberty Bowl, one of the longest running bowls and has such a storied history. And then I didn't get to coach in it last time we were there. It was I was hired as the head coach, but I wasn't coaching in it. And so get to coach in this bowl. Our guys are really excited to go to Memphis, excited for the opponent. And it's going to be a lot of fun because I know Coach Pittman. I know his offensive line coached really well. Coach Mateos and I coached together, and they're going to play with a lot of passion, and we're going to play with a lot of passion. So couldn't be any better. I told Kirby, I said, man, you kind of made my day with this bowl and this matchup, and so excited. It's going to be good for us. We've already had a couple of practices. It was just basic practices, and we're going to practice tomorrow. It won't be introducing them to Arkansas yet. We'll practice on Monday. We'll take Tuesday off, and then we'll come back Wednesday, and that'll be for Arkansas.
So the Red Raiders take on an Arkansas team that went 6-6 this past year. Of course, Tech 8-4. Jamie, for Arkansas, it's their 7th trip to the Liberty Bowl. They're 3-3. Last time they won in triple overtime over Kansas, 55-53 in 2022, and of course, the Red Raiders won in 2021 over Mississippi State. So I am excited about this game. I wasn't excited about the Rate Bowl. I didn't really have any kind of passion one way or another with regard to Rutgers. The Texas Bowl would have been great just because it would have been more convenient for more Tech fans than Memphis. But I think if you couldn't go to the Texas Bowl, then I think this is the better bowl to get to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do like it better than the Rate Bowl. I do wish that the Red Raiders had ended up in Houston at the Texas Bowl, but I like the matchup. I like the location, so the date, all the above. So I'm a fan of this one. I really am, and especially the big part of it for me, like we talked about last week, is I think the matchup, the competition is always important, and I think Arkansas is fun for our fans, and knowing that it's an SEC team, I think it'll be fun to play against them for our team.
All right, so you have new coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators coming in, and Coach McGuire was asked last night, who's going to be the OC for this game and the DC for this bowl game?
Yes, sir. Kirk Bryant will take a more active role as quarterbacks. The plan is for Juice. Juice is going to call the offense. He's going to be in the box, so that'll put Kirk down on the field, and then CJ IU will be calling the defense. That'll put Josh Bookbinder up, and then all of our guys, our young guys that are here, they'll have a more active role. Darcel McBath has been really active the last couple weeks with our corners, but that puts him in a more active role, being the corners coach, and then we just start evaluating. The other thing too, quite honestly, it also gives Mac and Shield a chance to evaluate the coaches, because there's still some guys that we've got to add on staff, and there'll possibly be some guys that have other opportunities, other places, and so that gives us a chance to do that, and they get to watch them coach and talk to them and start developing relationships.
Well, that sounds like a little bit of pressure, doesn't it?
Man, it sure does. I guess it's the nature.
If you're on staff, right?
It's the nature of the beast, but you're coaching for your job right now.
Yeah. And Zach Kitley's taken a couple of guys with him already, which you would expect, to Florida Atlantic, and those guys are going to have some additional opportunities than what they had here. And then you're going to be, replacing some guys here, and this guy's going to have, quote, other opportunities, So, so it's like, okay, there's no stress for me right now, is there? Because I've got, Mac Leftwich coming in to be the new offensive coordinator, and Shield Wood, the new defensive coordinator, and it just kind of feels like that there's going to be some, I don't know about drastic, but big changes for both sides of the ball, just in terms of philosophy, Jamie?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Reading the quotes from Coach McGuire, it seems like, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that you're talking about a coordinator that believes in being somewhat balanced and believes in the run game, but also wants to air it out too. So that's not any different than what we've had. Okay. And so it seems like every defensive coordinator has a little bit different spin on what they do. So I don't know. I'll have to wait and see how much things change in the future. But did we hear Coach McGuire say Mr. Wood's name?
Shield.
Shield?
Yeah.
It's Shield. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Shield.
Okay.
Yeah, Shield. Like your heel.
Like Shield without the D.
D. Yeah.
That's how Jeff was saying it on Friday. Because I asked him, I go, hey, how is this? He was like, Shield without the D, but it's Shield.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that we heard somebody say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Because we were all guessing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's like we, frankly, had not heard of him before. At least I hadn't.
Now, to be fair, the person I listened to on the internet say it, they could have been wrong too, but I'm going with what they said.
Yeah. You would think Coach McGuire would.
Who was the person on the internet?
I found an interview of somebody talking about him coming to Texas Tech.
Okay.
So it looks like Arkansas has had some opt-outs, especially from their receiving corps. One of their guys is not going to play, Andrew Armstrong. He has declared for the NFL draft, and he'll now be involved in this bowl game. He led the SEC in receiving yards this season with 1,140. He's not expected to be drafted until the last day of the draft. So Coach McGuire was asked about his team and if anybody has opted out for the bowl game yet.
Not yet. What we tried to do is one, see what bowl we're in, our opponent, and then, like last week, all our old guys didn't practice at all. All they did was lift and run. Tomorrow, the old guys will practice, but theirs will be to knock the rust off a little bit. They'll be in for a quick special teams. They'll do Indy, and then we'll do some 7-on-7 1-on-1, and then I'll cut them loose to go lift, and we'll practice the young guys. So these first couple practices are really focused on our young sophomores, redshirt freshmen, and freshman development. That's one of the greatest things about bowl games is you're able to get so many more workouts.
I don't believe he was asked this question yesterday, but it'll be interesting to see who the starting quarterback is going to be, because there's stuff out there about Baron Morton perhaps not available, or maybe going to have surgery, or something along those lines. And if that's the case, then you would use Will Hammond at quarterback, and you get a real strong look at him as the starting quarterback, and running the team and running the show, and then. I'm
happy at either situation. Obviously, we want our starter out there, and Baron Morton, who played really well, I feel like, his last 2 games of the season. But if the rumors are true and that he is going to have some sort of surgery and not be available, I like the thought that you would have Will Hammond getting ready for 2 or 3 weeks, taking those first team reps, and we get to see what that young man can do.
And I would, kind of going with how they've handled things this year, I would guess that unless they make an announcement about that, or he makes an announcement about that we would really not know until game week when they put out their availability report with regard to Baron Morton. But my guess is if he's going to have surgery or not be available completely, we might know about that sooner than game week.
Yes.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about Taj Brooks. I don't think he's going to opt out, but I don't know. Doesn't seem like that'd be something that he would do, just kind of based on what we know about him.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, today's question is in honor of Jacob Rodriguez, who is not in the transfer portal.
He's not, no.
And my question for you is not best, but favorite. I want you, in order, to give me your 3 favorite Red Raider defensive players of all time.
Oh, man. Gosh.
And I know Mason Tharp has probably made an intercept or a tackle off of an interception or something, but don't list Mason Tharp as a defensive player.
Okay. Man, I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody.
All right, you look, because you're still thinking. And mine were bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zach Thomas.
Yeah, he's on the list.
Dwayne Slay. Colin Schooler.
What order?
In that order. 1, 2, 3.
Zach Thomas 1, Dwayne Slay 2, Colin Schooler 3.
And really, it's the one hit that puts Schooler in that category, but that was a great hit. I mean,
okay,
it's the none shall pass at the goal line on the Baylor quarterback. I mean, it's a great hit.
Caused you to win a game against Baylor, so I'm a fan of that.
I'm going to go with Zach Thomas. I'm going to go with Jamar Wall. Can I do that?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of somebody that would really put pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, we've been wanting those guys for a long time.
Is there
There's a guy that's playing for the Raiders right now.
Is there somebody that I'm... Yeah, right. 3 defensive players. And Mason Tharp did not play defense. I do not want to go with Colin Schooler. For whatever reason, I just didn't care for him. I don't know why, but I just didn't.
You were jealous of his hair?
No. And I don't want to say Dwayne Slay. Who are your 3?
Of all the people I figure would make your list, the guy who killed a Kansas State quarterback.
Oh, no. I don't disagree with that. Somebody brings up Jordan Brooks. That's a good number. That's a good name. Jordan Brooks. Oh, okay. I'll buy Jordan Brooks.
Okay, number 3 on my list is Jacob Rodriguez. Okay, huge fan. Okay, on the field, off the field. This is going to sound bad. I'm a huge fan of his wife. I mean, all of the above. She's great people. Really enjoyed her. Okay. Hopefully we get to see her again. Okay. Number 2 on my list is Dwayne Slay. I mean, he's a Big 12 player, defensive player of the year. He's got to be on the list. Okay. Has one of the greatest defensive highlights in the history of your team. Plus, he was Defensive Player of the Year in the conference, we don't get many of those. And number one on my list, it's head and shoulders above everybody else, Marcus Coleman. I absolutely loved Marcus Coleman when he was a Red Raider.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even when he was in the NFL, too. Huge fan. Would lay the wood on running backs, receivers, but had a nose for the football. You know, if Zach doesn't pick that pass off against A&M and run it back, Marcus is picking it off and he's running it back the other sideline. But I just thought Coleman was a terrific player.
Yeah.
Terrific player. Did everything well and got to be around him, get him a good amount, and he was a great dude that loved the Red Raiders. When at the end of his career, when he was playing for the Cowboys and I was covering the Cowboys, he and I would chat about the Red Raiders a bunch, and he was a great dude.
All right, number of people have weighed in on the Yates Flooring Center channel, and you can too. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. So that was an epic fail for me on that question. Let's see. We get Tracy Sauls listed. Yeah,
he's kind of before my time, so that's why he feels like he would be one of the best if you were
I think you
listing him. He was just before my time,
and he was right as I was getting here. Gabe Rivera was not here. I was in college at the same time as Gabe Rivera, but that's before my time. Thomas Howard is before my time. Clay, Monte Rager, that would be a good one.
That's a great one. He would be. I mean, if I was making a top 5 or 10, he's probably in there.
How about Lawrence Flugents or
Absolutely.
Kevin Curtis? Yeah,
both of them.
Yep. Keontae Dawson. Yep, he was a good player. I'm not sure it makes your top 3. Vincent Meeks. Somebody mentions him.
The former running back switched to defensive back. That pick that he made in the Holiday Bowl was a game changer. It felt like.
Yeah. Somebody else brought up Colin Schooler as well. So
Schooler wouldn't be high on my list just because he was a portal guy.
Yeah, before the portal, but he was a transfer guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when the Pac-12 decided they weren't going to play football, he bailed and came here. I'm glad he came here. He was really good for us. I still was a fan of his, but it just again, these other guys were longtime Red Raiders.
Zach Thomas, Senior Sack, Gabe Rivera, and we get to watch him again. Jacob Rodriguez. Yes.
Yeah. I think Zach Thomas, if you were picking the best ever, would have to be the guy, right?
Yeah. I think so. I think people would certainly sign up.
You're talking about an NFL Hall of Famer, and
no doubt.
He's amazing for you.
I mean, he played on some teams that really weren't very good in those days. Somebody brings up Kerry Hyder. Yeah.
And those teams weren't that bad. I mean, they were bowl teams. Zach Thomas.
Yeah, we're all right.
Yeah, they were bowl teams. I mean, that's kind of who we have been forever.
Yeah. Let me go back and look at what those years were like. Maybe my revised history.
I'm kind of surprised that, and well, there it is right there. The name I literally was about to say.
What?
No one mentioning Tyree Wilson.
Jamie did.
To Chuck.
Yeah, I just couldn't come up with his name in my head.
Yeah,
but Jamie did.
Yeah.
The concept that, granted, he came from A&M, so we've got to ding him a little bit for that. But then he saw the light and realized that those people are crazy and came here. And graduated from here and played very, very well for you. And we would very much like to find like 6 more of him.
No doubt. No doubt. Let's see. Yeah. Zach's.
Adrian Taylor Demerson.
Yeah.
Also known as Rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, that 95 team that he played on, that was a good team. That was a 9-3 team. Yeah, so that was a really good team. Zach was a big part of that. Aaron Hunt was a guy who could get after the quarterback. Yeah, unfortunately, Aaron Hunt was involved in an off-field incident that really ended his Texas Tech career and any potential professional career. Broderick Washington, somebody brings that up. Yeah.
He's still in the league, isn't he?
I think so.
With the Ravens, I believe, yeah.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Nice to have you with us today here on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. Look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to Double T 97.3.com for that of the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. So Fred Manfred's not the only mistake I've made this morning. So I had alluded to Aaron Hunt being involved in some kind of off-field incident, and it wasn't him. It was a different guy with the initials AH. It was Anthony Heinz, who I was thinking of.
Anthony Heinz, he played for us?
A long time ago, like 2006. And so he was
Is you covering up for your cousin or what?
No, he spells it wrong. Oh. He spelled it Hines. He's the reason my name gets misspelled all the time. So, but anyway, that was on me. I was thinking of something, and it was him. This is from like 2006, so it's like 18 years ago. But anyway,
I never heard of the guy.
Well, there's a reason.
He didn't play?
Well, he didn't play. He didn't play much after that. There was a brawl at a club, and he survived, but I think I don't know if it affected his career or not, but I just remember it not going well. Anyway, the bottom line is that I didn't want to drag Aaron Hunt's name.
Oh, that seems a little unfair.
Yeah, right. So I mean, that name sounded familiar. I was like, well, that seems like that took place, and so somebody had mentioned that on the text line, and wanted to know what he had done, and I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong on that. So I was wrong. So I just wanted to be full disclosure.
Fair and accurate.
Yeah, I wanted to be fair. I wanted to be fair. I wanted to clear up the inaccuracy. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So college football playoff. Did they get it? Did they get it right? Did they get the 12 teams right?
I guess so. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Indiana's one of the best 12 teams in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I think Boise State is one of the best 12 teams in the country.
Mm-hmm. But we do say this about, college basketball too, that it's not necessarily the best 68, although you're hard pressed to go, okay, well,
but I bet the best 12 are in there.
Yeah, there's no question. And I would even say I would bet the best 25 are in there too. Mm-hmm. For the most part. Mm-hmm. So, but when you look at this, I guess
I'd probably go even deeper than that. I'd probably get up to like 35, 40 or something like that. Yeah.
And so is the one team that you look at, but if you were to take somebody out, who would you take out? Would you take out Indiana? Oregon's 1, Georgia's 2, Boise State's 3, Arizona State's 4.
I probably would take out Boise State.
I mean, I would. I don't think just because you're a group of 5 team that just because you have the best record or the best conference placement from,
maybe I'm just bothered because they put them ahead of the Big 12 team, which seems crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least a Big 12 team got a bye.
Yeah, that's fair. Unlike the ACC champ.
Yeah, I mean, and Clemson, gets in because Syracuse won a ball game. And got into
the ACC champ is behind the team that they beat in the championship game.
Yeah, SMU. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and Indiana's ahead of them.
And we're up by 17 at halftime that we're putting it on them. So. Yeah.
It seems to me too that in this seeding aspect of it, Oregon, which is your number 1 overall seed, is going to have the toughest game in the quarterfinals because they're going to face the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State.
I would rather face that than number 5 Texas.
Okay.
Wouldn't you?
I don't know. Texas just did not look very good in their SEC championship game.
I mean, they lost in overtime. They didn't get blown out or anything.
I know.
That game could have gone either way.
It could have. I just thought there was some curious play calling in that game.
Oh, I mean that's fair, but I mean I didn't look at Texas and didn't watch that game and think they don't belong here. They're no good.
No, I understand that. But I mean,
wouldn't you rather play the number 8 or 9 rated team than the number 5?
Yeah, I just don't think that Ohio State's the number 8 team.
And they got beat by a pretty mediocre Michigan team.
Okay. And is Tennessee the number 9 team? And then you look at, potentially they would have to face Texas. Well, meanwhile, Boise State gets the winner of Penn State SMU, and Georgia gets the winner of Indiana and Notre Dame.
I mean, Penn State gave Oregon everything they could handle this past weekend, right? So,
but Georgia has the easier second quarterfinal game potentially against Indiana or Notre Dame.
Probably so.
More so than Oregon facing Tennessee or Ohio State.
I would think I would lean that way. I think I would be higher on Ohio State and Tennessee than Notre Dame.
So I
think Notre Dame's going to win by 100-ish against Indiana. That was a little bit of sarcasm there, but I don't think Indiana's a good football team. If there's anybody I'm moving out, it's Indiana, I think.
Okay. And
I think they're a good football team. I don't think they're in the top 12.
Would you put Alabama in instead of Indiana?
I guess so.
I mean, Alabama shot themselves in the foot with the losses that they had to Vandy and to Oklahoma.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody has warts, and like I said earlier, I mean, about 10 through 16 is going to be all just a little jumbled up mess there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is that it's funny how Alabama's AD talks about they're going to look at their non-conference record. Well, their schedule, yeah. Well, it wasn't your non-conference schedule that was your problem. It was your conference schedule and losing to teams that you should have beaten or could have beaten. Because if they'd have beaten Vanderbilt, if they'd have just beaten Vanderbilt, they'd have been in.
They can't fix the conference schedule, so he's going to fix what he can fix, and this being the non-conference schedule.
Yeah, but my point,
or if they'd beaten Oklahoma, they would be in.
They'd be in.
Either one of them.
Either one of them. Easily would have been in. And the SEC only has to play 8 conference games. Mm-hmm. And that's a bit unfair to the rest of the conferences that are playing 9. So
this has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.